Translation: just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. Purport: the path of self-realization is undoubtedly difficult. The Lord therefore advises us to approach a bona fide spiritual master in the line of disciplic succession from the Lord himself. No one can be a bona fide spiritual master without following this principle of disciplic succession. The Lord is the original spiritual master, and the person in the disciplic succession can convey the message of the Lord as it is to his disciple. No one can be spiritually realized by manufacturing his own process, as is the fashion of the foolish pretenders. The Bhagavatam 6.3.19 says, Dharmam tu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. The path of religion is directly enunciated by the Lord. Therefore, mental speculation or dry arguments cannot help lead one to the right path. Nor by independent study of books of knowledge can one progress in spiritual life. One has to approach a bona fide spiritual master to receive the knowledge. Such a spiritual master should be accepted in full surrender. And one should serve the spiritual master like a menial servant without false prestige. Satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master is the secret of advancement in spiritual life. Inquiries and submission constitute the proper combination for spiritual understanding. Unless there is submission and service, inquiries from the learned spiritual master will not be effective. One must be able to pass the test of the spiritual master, and when he sees the genuine desire of the disciple, he automatically blesses the disciple with genuine spiritual understanding. In this verse, both blind following and absurd inquiries are condemned. Not only should one hear submissively from the spiritual master, but one must also get a clear understanding from him. In submission and service and inquiries, a bona fide spiritual master is by nature very kind toward the disciple. Therefore, when the student is submissive and is always ready to render service, the reciprocation of knowledge and inquiries becomes perfect. Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. So, we know that Srila Prabhupada said that this process is very simple and easy, and now he says it's difficult. So, what is the right understanding? Or what is the right answer? Is it easy or it's difficult? So I would say that it's both. It's easy in a sense that it's very simple, and for someone who is sincere, who is practicing very seriously and sincerely, even if difficulties come, he is not disturbed, and he knows that this is the part of the package, this is the part of the process of purification, and he's not disturbed. Sometimes it's very difficult, but for one who has strong faith, he actually doesn't give up. So whether it's easy or whether it's difficult, it's not the concern of a serious candidate, of a serious devotee. His concern is to continue with enthusiasm and determination to serve Krishna under the instruction of Krishna and of his bona fide representatives. And as we have seen in the last 50 years of our movement, it's not easy to be a spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada also had so many difficulties, and so many disciples left, and sometimes disciples made a lot of trouble, sometimes other people made a lot of trouble, government, authorities, visas. But what we learn from him is that he never gave up to try to engage in the mission and help the mission of spreading Krishna consciousness. And Srila Prabhupada was also very bold. His legal name is Abhay, which means fearless. And one devotee wrote a book which is called Without Fear, about his remembrance of Srila Prabhupada. And one of his prominent qualities, one of Srila Prabhupada's prominent qualities was fearlessness. He was never afraid. He took risks. He fought, if needed, in the court for Krishna's property. And he went to a very, very difficult place in the Lower East Side of New York, where all very degraded people were living, and he slowly developed the whole movement. So his story is a great success story of a person who crossed the ocean in a boat and had 2 heart attacks. So sometimes we hear from politicians, motivational speakers, never give up. And Srila Prabhupada never gave up on his mission. And when he came, he saw that it's a very difficult place. It's covered with the modes of ignorance and passion. But he just had faith in the words of his spiritual master and continued. So we see it's not easy to be a guru. And as we have seen in our movement, gurus had difficulties. Srila Prabhupada has given them a chance to do that difficult service. And this service requires a lot of commitment, a lot of compassion, a lot of spiritual strength and spiritual advancement. And I see some devotees have become gurus in this lifetime. They're doing well, some have difficulties. But I see other devotees who are not gurus yet, who are so engaged, so much engaged and absorbed in the mission and in the instructions of the acharyas and of Srila Prabhupada, that I think they are preparing themselves to be gurus in their next life. What I mean by guru, I mean Diksha Guru. The one who is in a position to initiate, to take full responsibility for bringing the disciple back to Godhead. So maybe those who like to preach, those who like to help others, maybe they will need to be trained during few lifetimes in order to come to a position to accept that service. Because Kali Yuga will continue, and there will be a need for preaching and for taking care of disciples, not only in this life, but in the next life. Srila Prabhupada wanted all of his disciples to become gurus. And he said that this is very simple. You just repeat what Krishna says. But also one has to live what Krishna says. One has to be a good example. So the first quality of an acharya is achar, that means proper behavior, and then his prachar is very, very powerful, very potent. 3 things are mentioned here: submission, service, and inquiry. Srila Prabhupada repeats this in the purport a couple of times. And if we look at the educational institutions, you have a student, he comes to the professor, and they teach, and they learn something, but they're also allowed to ask questions, but they usually most of them don't ask questions very often. And what to speak of doing service for the teacher. But here in the Vedic system, submission, service, and inquiry. So some people ask a lot of questions, but they never actually surrender. They never follow properly. They never take shelter of the spiritual master and surrender to his training and to his instructions. One thing mentioned in the purport is without false prestige. Serving as a menial servant without false prestige. So we all had an opportunity to serve spiritual master like menial servant, taking care of their needs. And in the Vedic system, in Gurukula, disciples were always taking care of the needs of the Guru and helping in many ways. But Guru will always bless such a disciple who is humble and who is always ready to serve. Even if one is not so qualified to make fast advancement, still, spiritual master would bless him with knowledge and with advancement that such a disciple could make quick advancement because of the mercy of the spiritual master. And here, the secret of success in spiritual life is given, and the satisfaction of the spiritual master. So we want to satisfy our present representatives of Srila Prabhupada, bona fide representatives, and Srila Prabhupada, who is our grandfather guru, who is the Shiksha guru of the whole movement, and how we can satisfy him simply by learning and following his instructions. He has clearly described how to make advancement, how to serve Krishna, how to relate to others, how to relate to devotees. And one thing that he has stressed is preaching and book distribution. And this verse is perfect for the beginning of the marathon. Tomorrow the marathon begins, and devotees from all over the world will go out and distribute Srila Prabhupada's books. Others will help them in some ways. They will support this book distribution in different ways. Some devotees are preaching online and publishing Srila Prabhupada's teachings online in different ways. So with the concerted effort, the whole movement is making a special effort in the 12th, the last month of the year, and this is also 50th anniversary of ISKCON. So devotees all over the world are making greater effort to spread Krishna consciousness. And I really love this mood, and I know there will be a lot of results, but when I think of our movement and spreading of our movement, I know that Srila Prabhupada said that simply by distributing my books, everything will come. And every morning in at Vishnumurti Prabhu's home, we are reading the book called Our Family Business by Vaisheshika Prabhu. And Vaisheshika Prabhu is just a very dedicated Sankirtan leader and also temple president. And now he has become also a Diksha Guru, wonderful devotee. And he is always quoting what Srila Prabhupada said, but he has a very balanced view how to distribute books and how to also appreciate other services. So he is quoting Srila Prabhupada, who says that we should distribute books in any way we can, but also he said that we have to leave a good impression and that people become inspired to study the books and to apply the books in their lives. So I would like to mention that I can't remember how many years ago, probably between 5 and 10 years ago, in Mayapur there was a discussion about preaching in our movement, and there was one group of devotees who were under one umbrella in the one committee, or I think it was a preaching committee or something, something like that. And then they decided to divide. And so they just asked devotees, please raise your hand if you want to be in the outreach section or devotee care section. And then we had like 35 devotees voted for the bigger number of devotees voted for the devotee care section. So the devotee care committee was started. Why I'm saying this? Because giving people books and making contacts with people, getting their addresses, getting in touch with them through festivals, programs, different other outreach activities on the internet is wonderful. We want more and more new people, but what is very painful is that we have lost a lot of people. We have lost a lot of people, and I'm thinking, how can we keep people who are here, keep them happy and engaged and strong, and also help them and inspire them to preach to other people and to engage in helping others and to become a trusted guide. Every devotee maybe will not become a Diksha Guru, maybe not even a Shiksha Guru, but they can become a guide. They can become a trusted guide. Shiksha Guru is a very high title and high position, and once I heard that devotees in Slovenia asked Radhanath Maharaj, shall we call our mentors Shiksha Gurus? Because in some temples, some of the leaders were insisting that we should call them Shiksha Gurus, and he absolutely said no. They are called counselors, or you can call them mentors. Because this title, practically Shiksha Guru, is on the level of Diksha Guru, so it's not appropriate to call a mentor a Shiksha Guru. He is giving Shiksha, yes, he is some kind of a Shiksha Guru. There are different levels, but he is not this level of a Guru which is equal to a Diksha Guru, because this is a very advanced position. And also the person may become proud, and it's a dangerous title to have this title. But it doesn't mean they cannot preach and they cannot share the instructions and help people to follow the instructions. So instruction or vani is very important. Not very important, is absolutely important. So we were speaking with Krishnamurti Prabhu about the word vani, and I was joking a little bit that I named my Facebook Vani Seva to remind me to serve the Vani in some way. But I said I don't feel worthy or qualified to have this name, so maybe I should change my Facebook and call it Bhaktavani. But he said, not Bhaktavani, back to Vani. So it's so wonderful, it's a beautiful, I mean, these three words are so powerful. They can get you out of any trouble. If you get in any kind of trouble, if you go back to Vani, back to Prabhupada instructions, then, I mean, you will be saved. You will get out of trouble. You will get light. You will get knowledge. You will get some idea how to help others and how to help yourself. So somehow through this humorous exchange, we got an amazing tool for devotees. They can remember when they are in trouble. Only these three words: back to Vani. Go back to the Gita, go back to the Bhagavatam, go back to Prabhupada's letters, Prabhupada's instructions. What I'm really, really excited to do, and we will see when, is to go through all the letters of Srila Prabhupada and take out amazing personal instructions that he has given to his disciples. If you read this, I think your life will never be the same. There are a couple of very famous letters. Letter to Karandara 72 about leaders, leadership and management. There is letter to Tejas Prabhu about life membership. But his letters, he gets so personal, and he he's encouraging devotees. He says, don't be depressed, please, be encouraged. Amazingly compassionate and caring preaching in these letters. Sometimes he's very clear, very strong, very straightforward. Sometimes there is a letter to Jawaharlal Nehru or to Gandhi, to very high personalities. So we can learn from his letters so much, but it would be good to have this, I would say, powerful Vani from his letter in one book, in one place, in one ebook, like a compilation. And I would like to do this one day. But what we are working now on is translating 1080 Prabhupada's lectures into Croatian and Serbian and Macedonian and Slovenian and maybe Bosnian, although Bosnians can read Croat and Serbian easily. And so when we complete this, then we can go to other projects. But as you know, Vanipedia is compiling, doing thematic mapping of Srila Prabhupada's teaching, and we have 14,000 categories. And if you take any topic or any phrase that Prabhupada said, you can find a category and you can find a lot of quotes. And there is one category that Lakshmi Priya Mataji is working on, is called Time is Coming. Many times Srila Prabhupada would speak about the future, and of course it's a very bright future. So they compiled a compilation that has been done. Mostly it was very personal, where they would take Srila Prabhupada's phrase, his own phrase that he repeated, and then compile a category. So it's a very, very wonderful compilation, unique in the whole world. And when you come to a category, then you can learn so much. You can get amazing quotes and even personal help. So we want to create different systems that people can make faster advancement, that they can be attracted to Srila Prabhupada's teachings. We are making nectar drops also, where you can read short quotes, which are very inspirational. But if you want to learn more, you click and you go into the lecture where this is taken from, or into a book, and study more. So we want people to get millions of books, but ideally we want them to read. We want them to read them and to apply them, and then this is where we can step in and help them to apply these books. In this verse, I see that one message that also we can see at the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita. In the famous verse, 7th verse of the 2nd chapter, and the long purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that if you're not serious about solving the problems of life, like birth, death, old age and disease, then don't approach a spiritual master. There is no need. And what's happening in that verse is a great message and great success principle. To me, the beginning of success is to admit that I need help. I cannot do it alone. And this verse has the same message. You cannot, Srila Prabhupada says, you cannot do by the independent study of the literature. You need a person who is self-realized, who will guide you, and to whom you will surrender, and who is pure, and who will help you, and whom you will serve, and who will answer your questions and clarify your doubts. So as we see, as we are trying to help people or help ourselves, everybody needs help, everybody needs guidance, everybody needs to discuss and to speak about how to overcome different obstacles, how to create more success, how to celebrate success. And as one devotee said in one interview in New York recently, we need each other. We need to help each other. We get focused on Krishna, on the deities, sometimes on Srila Prabhupada, but we neglect devotees and neglect to look around and to see who can help us or whom we can help. So I think that it's not a sentimental statement, we need each other, because Prabhupada created this society so that we can help each other. At least this is my understanding. If we create an atmosphere of openness, where devotees can openly speak about what is their understanding of Krishna consciousness and what obstacles they face and what wonderful realizations they have, then I think nobody would want to leave, because they will see that others are interested to help me, others are interested in my advancement, and I also can reciprocate and help others in one way or the other. So it's a reciprocation. So we have, if we want to develop caring communities, we have wonderful verses like in the Bhagavad Gita. The austerity of speech describes how we should speak words that are truthful, beneficial, not agitating to others, pleasing, and always reciting the Vedic literature. So this is a wonderful instruction for communication skills. And it's not so easy. If you take this verse and try to apply it for 1 month, you will see that there will be challenges. But if you remember that verse, if you have it on the card, and understand how Krishna wants you to speak and to communicate, then you can actually make advancement, and you can be very happy that you have a practical tool directly from the Bhagavad Gita, communications tool. Now this verse is interesting because it can be applied to your thinking, how you talk to yourself. You can use the same 5 points, and how you are writing, if you are inclined to write emails or Facebook messages or chat or whatever, social media, blog. How you write, you can check if your writing is in line, in harmony with this verse. And of course, for book distribution, I think this verse can be very, very helpful. That if book distributors use this verse to attract people to the books, then this can be very, very nice success. There was one section in the book of Vaisheshika Prabhu where he said that he was knocking on the door, and the person said, "Oh, we don't need," and something like that. And he continued saying some nice things with his nice voice. And then finally 2 people opened the door, one couple, they were Hispanic, South Americans, and slowly they spoke to him, developed a nice conversation and friendship, and they took books. And so, I want to say that by his voice, devotee can actually help people to open up for approaching Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada's books, this philosophy, this culture. It's very important how we speak. And the voice is one of the main instruments in Sankirtan. It can be smile, it can be your dress, but the voice is the main thing which will attract people to pay attention to what you want to give them. And this is Prabhupada's books. So thank you very much for listening. We have maybe 2 or 3 minutes if you have any question. Thank you for listening.
Together, Prabhupada wants that we cooperate approaching it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important actually that we support each other and be really friends, and how we talk with each other. Like how we first of all talk with yourself, what attitude you have for yourself, that you can give to others based what Krishna gives you, because the whole ability you get from Krishna. So it's good to analyze, to see what thought you have every day, and to pray for the guidance. We also mentioned guidance. It's very important that we accept guidance from others.
Guidance.
Guidance. So manage. And mercy, because everything is really depends. Everything good we have is from Gurudeva. Because before we are just like living very simply, and now we get this mercy. You know, I just see that it's very important, this kind of aspect, that persons really in society, like Krishna consciousness in society, that they are doing that they learn how to help themselves first.
Mm-hmm.
It's important to learn this. That people will see, they are happy. Actually, this function, because of this.
Thank you.